welcome you today, and I want you to know that after this time, you are going to experience a turnaround in everything you do, because you are going to do away with failure completely. What are we talking about today? I want to talk about how you can get up from failure. How you can get up from failure. The first question is this: what causes failure? What are the facts about failure? Before we can be able to understand how we can get up from failure. See, failure is not something you need to kill yourself about. Failure is just something that is standing on its own, as success is also standing on its own. Your actions determines your failure or your success. So today we want to see what are those things that will make us get up even when we fail. What are those things that we need to do for us not to remain as a failure? The number one cause of failure: when something repeats itself. Let me just something bad. When it repeats itself, even sometimes things you do that make you fail, now you repeat those things continuously. When a particular things keeps occurring every time, then we relate it to failure. Because the first time it happens, it makes you fail. Now, when it happens again, you fail. When it happens again, you fail. So most of the time, when we have a reoccurring of incident in life, it causes failure. The next one is having too many tasks. When you have too many tasks, you put a lot of things on your head at a particular time. You are the one that want to do A, B, C, D, E to Z within 1 hour. You are going to realize that there is a very high tendency for you to fail. And these are the causes of failure. When you have too many tasks on yourself, it causes failure. The third one is poor performance of a task. Okay, you don't have too many tasks. Now you have only one task, but you are not performing as expected. When you are not performing as expected, you have a tendency that you will fail in that task. So understanding the causes of failure will make you correct yourself not to be a failure again. Over expectation of things will make you look outside of your own ability to do some things. Now you will rely on some other things you need not to rely upon. Now, that one will introduce us to another thing. The people around us also causes failure. People around us also causes failure. When you put your life in the life of others that are not going to the same destination which you are going to, it causes failure. When you understand the causes of failure, it will make you to correct yourself in knowing what to do and what not to do. There are some facts about failure that I want you to know. Number one fact is this: failure is just a setback in time. Failure is just a setback in time. If you want to achieve one thing within a year, if you fail, it will become 2 years. If you fail again, it will become 3 years. It is just a setback in time. Number two, failure is not permanent. The fact that you failed yesterday does not mean you are a failure forever. Failure is not permanent. It's not something that when it happens to you, it has come to stay. No. You can change from failing to succeeding. So failure is not permanent. Number three is failure is not hereditary. The fact that your father failed does not mean that you will fail. The fact that your mother failed does not mean that you must also fail. The fact that everybody in your family are experiencing a particular failure does not mean that you also will hereditary that failure. The fact that everybody in your family is experiencing a particular failure does not mean that you will also find yourself in their shoe. Though the causes of failure might be hereditary, but failure itself is not hereditary. Even when you realize that there is something in your family that makes them fail, the moment you choose not to fall into their path, the moment you change your own action, and when your action changes, your end result will change. So failure on its own is not hereditary. Don't believe that everybody in your family fail, then you must fail. No, you can change the story and become different. What are those things that failure causes in human life? What are those things that failure causes in human life? Number one is that it makes people give up. When people fail, most of the time they give up easily, forgetting the fact that they can come out of that failure. Number two is that failure makes people leave what they are doing. Probably you're in a particular business and the person failed, and the person will look at it from the angle that this is not my business, I want to change business, just because of a failure of one day. The person did not understand what causes this failure. Why did I fail? So most of the time, people tend to leave what they are doing, they quit what they are doing because of failure. And these are the things that come after failure. Number three is that it makes people quit before the time. In the process of running, when you are an athlete and you are running, don't forget that most of the time, the person that wins the race might not be the one in front at the beginning of the race or even at the middle of the race. So because you are not where you want to be at a particular time does not mean you will not be there. So most of the time when people fail, they quit before the time. And these are the things that failure brings to women's life. And today, I want you to change your mentality, I want you to change your belief, I want you to change your orientation, I want you to change your perspective about failure. Knowing too well that you will definitely come out of failure. And the time of your freedom from failure is now. Follow me as I tell you what you need to do to come out of failure. I welcome you once again. Don't forget, I'm talking about how can you come out of failure. There is nobody that has not failed before in life. Let me give you this instance. When you want to start working when you are still a baby, the first time you try to stand up, you fell back. Do you remember? Now, that is a failure to walk. But because you saw people that are walking, now you still try again the next day, you try again the third day, now you can walk and now you can even run. Why? Because you did not quit trying. Now that introduces us to what we want to say now. If you want to come out of failure, the first thing you need to do is to identify where you made mistake. You should identify where you made the first mistake. So when you fail, it is not the time for you to cry. It is not the time for you to now be sober and be downcasted. No. It is a time for you to think what causes this failure. You need to identify where you fail, why you fail, what makes you fail. Identify that first. When you identify that, then the second one is that you learn from it. You identify what makes you fail. Now, do you sleep too much? When you ought to read, when you ought to stand up in the morning for your business, you are still sleeping. Now, you have identified the cause. You have identified where you made a mistake. You now learn from it. Now, if I want to do this thing again, I must not be sleeping the way I was sleeping before. That means you are learning from your mistakes. There is nobody that does not make mistake. There is nobody that has not failed before. But we refuse to become a failure. We stand up and we identify where we failed and we keep moving on. So the first one for you to do is to identify what causes the failure. And the second one is to learn from those mistakes. Those things you have identified, learn from them. And the third one is focus on where you are going. See, if you take your eyes away from where you are going, you might not be able to succeed and you might not be able to come out of failure, because something must energize you to try harder. Something must keep your spirit high. Something must make you think, I am not a failure. And that thing is where you are going. Now, if you want to become a general manager, you want to become the CEO of a particular company and you failed now, the moment you take your eyes away from where you are going, what you want to become, at that moment you will accept failure. And that is where people get it wrong. That is the point where people push their failure to others. If it is a student, they will tell you the lecturer did not like them. If it is a business person, they will tell you the economy is not favoring them. If it's someone that is working in their office, they will tell you their boss is not a good person. Why? Because they want to push away their failure, the responsibility. They want to push it to others because they are gradually taking their eyes away from where they are going. And I don't want you to fall as a prey into that action. And that's what I'm telling you today. If you want to come out from failure, don't lose focus. Focus on where you are going. Continuous focus on where you are going. Never be discouraged. See, I know failure can be discouraging. You understand, when you thought that you have finished everything, that this year is a good year, you now realize that everything you have done end in failure. It can discourage you. But don't be discouraged. The moment you are not discouraged, I tell you, you are just a step to success. Don't be discouraged. Make sure you focus yourself, your mind, on where you are going. And I know that very soon you will be there. And the last one is this: don't stop. Keep moving. Keep moving. Keep learning. Look for better opportunities. Look for new ideas. Learn new things. The old ones you learned were the ones that you did and make you fail. Keep moving. Don't stop in a place. Equip yourself. Open up your mind. Learn new things. Let new things come into your life. Focus on how you can be a better person. By so you realize that you're not stopping in a place. You keep on moving till you get to a place of success. So, I want you to know that if you are able to practice these things, I tell you, failure will quit its immediate effect. You are not a failure. You are a success. Failure is just a setback in time. Failure is not permanent. Failure is not hereditary. Thank you and see you in success.